Alright, hello and welcome to episode zero, or the kind of non-important episode, I guess you could say, of the Danubian Dreams series. Now, we will be playing the HPM XB mod. We are currently on, apologies, so it's HPM XB version 0.1.2. It just released a few, maybe 12, 17 hours ago. And it's based off of HPM version 0.4.6. Now, this is a flavor and historical mod. It's based off of HPM, which those of you who are unaware of Victoria 2 mods or just haven't really dived too much into them, HPM is just the historical project mod. It seeks to improve the game in a lot of ways. One, which is often done, is it removes John Mayan, which is one of my favorite little Easter eggs, which is kind of sad to always see it gone. I'm pretty sure it's HPM that does this. It might be HFM, but either way, it's going to be gone for this playthrough. Now, it combines HPM with HFM. HFM is historical flavor mod, and so you'll see a lot of events. You'll also see a lot of decisions. Now, this is an HPM decision, so we'll see a lot of things there, but like HFM would add the embrace Jews in Austria. See, this one, I'm pretty sure he's done because he doesn't have the description or the title fixed yet, but I mean, it pretty much tells you what's going to happen. But like, create Romania, call for a convention, things like that would be more flavor impact because it doesn't necessarily change the technology or the military, but it does add more kind of cultural impact. Although some of this obviously does change the world stage, but a lot of it won't. It'll only affect you, or it'll make things more kind of historical in a way. He also combines, or he or she, or they, I'm not too sure, also combines it with HFM more stuff, which I'm pretty sure is a submod that just adds more. No. HFM and HFM more stuff. Yeah, which has some pretty good content going with it. Now, this will probably be updated by the time you watch this. It'll probably be one or two versions ahead. But so far, what he's put in the changelog is he's added stuff for the US. You vanilla players might see that Seattle and the surrounding areas in Washington are controlled by the British. There's events and whatnot, kind of similar to Caribou and Maine. I'm sorry, just blanked out on state names for a second. There's also events where if Mexico denies a ceasefire for the Mexican-American War, the U.S. can choose a decision to annex parts of northern Mexico. There's events for Mexico to conquer pretty much this area. I don't know if you need Florida, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. You might. Uh, yeah, Alabama because it's mobile. But you can form the Mexican Golden Circle. I want to say that's the name of it, which is similar to what the CSA can do, uh, which is basically they're like, oh, we go down south and take these lands for the South. Yeah, it didn't happen. They lasted like 5 years. Wasn't gonna happen. But there's a decision for that, which Mexico can tag change, and they'll have a new name and new stuff. And they also have, I think, oligarchic republics now, which is basically constitutional monarchy, but the rich will like demand stuff every so often. There's also a French focus decision where France expands into neighboring French culture. Now, I think it includes the Piedmont and Savoy. Not too sure about that one, but it definitely kind of encourages France to kind of reform, Napoleon's dream. But it also removes these Breton, Picardy, and I think that's it. What other accepted pops? Picardy, Breton, French Canadian, I think actually does stay. But what it does is it makes them no longer accepted, and for provinces in which the culture exists, gets a 200% assimilation, and it's called like the French language schools. I was gonna do a French ambitions, I kept messing up the audio, and that went downhill pretty fast. We'll be playing as Austria. We'll be going for the Danube Federation. which is basically based around kind of like a South German confederation, but bigger and based around Austria-Hungary and the Danube River, which does some beautiful flowy things up in here, and it's the lifeblood of many countries. That'll be probably about 34 years or so until we can actually do it. We have to make sure Prussia doesn't form the North German Confederation to kind of make it easier. If they do, it's not the end of the world, but we have to keep these powers kind of free from their influence, and that'll be kind of hard. I think, is there anything else that comes to mind? That should be most of it. There's US, Mexico, France, Austria, the oligarchs. I think some things with Turkey. I don't remember exactly what's going on. Well, the Ottoman Empire, but I don't really remember what's going on there. Also, Japan can annex Korea without being civilized, or without Korea being civil. One of the two. One of the two can happen. It's either whenever Japan doesn't need to be civilized, or it's Korea doesn't need to be civilized. But it's kind of to make it more possible to for Japan to just bonk this down here, right? But no, we're going to be going for the Danubian Confederation. A few other things, kind of housekeeping. Hopefully, audio quality is quite a bit higher. If there's a difference in audio quality between this episode and the next one, it's because I listened to this one and said, wow, that sounds horrible, or wow, I could improve it a little bit. Also, fixing music looping and cuts and whatnot so that way it's less noticeable. You might notice it because of Victoria 2 background. And actually, I'm sure this is picking it up a little bit. I'm going to drop down that music a little bit before I continue because I'm pretty sure it's copyrighted. There we go. That should be just too low. You might slightly hear it, but it shouldn't be enough to really flag anything. I'm going to go through and do the options before I forget. So we're not going to do Crisis at the beginning because it kind of hurts a little bit. We're going to do 1870 because kind of memey. I like vanilla and new nation mod tags. I like Easter eggs. I don't like bankruptcy events because we are going to be a huge power, and so people will loan from us, and I don't want to mess with that a lot. I like the EIC because it kind of nerfs GB a little bit. As far as just spamming out Indian units like I was doing. No, not gonna say it, but that's kind of fucked. What I do. We're also gonna go ahead and switch over to reactionary because we get state capitalism, and that is good because I can steer the direction of production. We can also go down the government decisions. We'll choose a trade policy or mercantilism. I don't need to dissolve the upper house. We can reform local government. It's not too needy. We'll hide that. We'll just go through this really quickly. Change border policy. We shouldn't have anything. We don't. Great. And that should be all of that. I'm gonna go ahead and also fix the tech. Is we're gonna immediately go for muzzle loaded, and then if we get it quick enough, we'll switch over to market structure. If we get it slow enough, we'll switch over to idealism. Depends. It should be. We should have to get market structure, and then we'll do idealism. I'm gonna click this so we're not notified about it in the future. And I'm gonna just tax the poor, break the middle, break the lower. Actually, tax the middle. Education, administration is pretty important. Tariffs are gonna be up there. And I'm going to fix the armies up a little bit. I'm gonna do a 4 infantry, 4 arty, 1 engineer, 1 hussar. And I don't like 4 acers. I'm sure they're fine for doing things, but I just don't like them. And we'll just do these little housekeeping before I even start the game. That way, if you don't want to watch this, it'll be fine. Doesn't really matter. If you do, you'll realize that not much has actually changed. But it's just a little cleaning up of this. I'm trying to think if there's another housekeeping rule. Or I say housekeeping, but it's just like general talks. There is a mod that I'm looking at. It's called A New Sun Will Rise. I want to say it's answer for the acronym. It's a pretty cool, kind of like post-apocalyptic, world's gone down kind of mod. So far, they have the map and country changes to North and South America, Europe, and not Africa, and they don't have Asia. And I would play it in the state it is, but GB still exists in Great Britain, so GB is extremely overpowered, and China still exists in its complete state. So I'm gonna wait until they kind of divvy this up. Maybe they have like Taiwan or Formosa, whatever they want to call it, probably Taiwan, and they have like the different cliques or something going on there. Japan, maybe it gets split in half, and you have like the different daimyos, right? I don't know. Something would be interesting to see there. And I'm gonna go and switch this. We're gonna produce craftsmen in Slovakia and Bohemia since they're the biggest things. Something else, I'm gonna immediately pop a priority factory and a steel mill in Bohemia. And in Slovakia, we have a steel mill. I'm gonna put in a small arms factory to kind of help our money and a cement factory. So the tech branch, we're gonna branch, not really branch, the tech. I don't know how to say this. I'm struggling for words. But basically, what we're gonna go for is muzzle loaded, and then we're gonna do market, pop idealism, and then switch over to interchangeable parts because we're gonna need the mechanized slaughter. No, the precision work. There it is. Right. And also something else. This one might be a little bit longer compared to the others. The others should be roughly 10 minutes, maybe a little bit over, maybe a little bit less, depending on the state of the game. But I'm gonna try and keep it a little bit shorter, a little bit more digestible. That way, if you want to skip an episode or I don't know, you're pressed for time, it's not gonna be as uh, disorientating, I guess you could say, because sometimes I like to watch something and then I'll watch up until like 8 minutes and I'm like, ah, there's 2 minutes left. I'll just watch the next one. And if I do that and it's 15 minutes and you watched it 8 or 9 minutes, you might not finish it and it might get you lost on the next one. So just a little something I thought might make things flow a little bit better. But anyway, I'm gonna end it here, go back, listen to it. If it sounds fine, then everything should sound the same in the next episode. If not, it'll be a little bit different. Just a heads up. Hopefully, if it's different, it's better. If it's different, it's worse. I am extremely sorry. I'm pretty incompetent at a few things to do in the creative scenes. Anyway, thank you very much and adios.